The other type of ossification that we talked about, endochondral ossification, this is ossification that occurs on a cartilage model. And the steps to that are shown here. We'll walk through them. So you have these progenitor cells called osteochondral progenitor cells. And that might make sense because, again, if you look at the word osteo, bone, chondro, cartilage. So we have bone cartilage progenitors. So these cells are going to make this base for ossification. And so they develop into chondroblasts, which are going to make more cartilage. So it's going to form this cartilage model. And that is surrounded by perichondrium. Then there's going to be blood vessels that begin to invade the perichondrium. So there's blood vessels that break into that region, and that's going to bring in other cells, so the osteoblasts. And these osteoblasts then, with the nutrients from the invading blood vessels, are going to produce a bone collar of compact bone and periosteum around it. This region, once it's formed, is known as the primary ossification center. So this is the primary area where ossification begins in endochondral ossification. Then you've got a larger amount of vascular invasion, if you will, blood vessels coming in to the primary marrow cavity, and it helps in forming that or defining the primary marrow cavity. And then you get a secondary ossification center, usually at the end. And because we're talking about long bones, it's usually going to be on the epiphyses. Then at birth, you have a larger marrow cavity and a secondary marrow cavity in one of the epiphyses. You've got lots of vasculature coming in, which, if you think about it, in a growing child, this is absolutely necessary. You've got a lot of bone to make, which means you need a lot of nutrients. The cells in here will start to specialize and differentiate to form red bone marrow so that they can make blood cells. And in a child, as it's growing, there's a region called the epiphyseal plate, and that's this region here. And this region is essential for the growth of the bone. It's the region where a bone will grow in length. As the child reaches into adolescence and adolescence into adulthood, that bone will actually change. It'll stop growing in length, and it will also remove or get rid of the secondary marrow cavity, because as an adult, it doesn't need as much vascularization in order to grow because there's not as much growing going on. There's more just reshaping and remodeling. And so by the time you're at adulthood, there's only a single marrow cavity, which is here in the middle in the diaphysis, and then the epiphyseal plate will actually close and form a line.